The stars were quiet. Captain Threx of the Yularan explorers was floating near the edge of a dead system. He looked at the black screen in front of him. Nothing. No signals. No life. Just wreckage. Thousands of broken ships drifting in the dark. He turned to his crew. "Scan everything," he said. "Something destroyed this fleet." His second officer, Veltri, frowned. No distress call, no survivors, just silence. Threx stepped closer to the glass window. Outside, twisted metal floated, ships from many races, some from the Council, some from the Wild Systems, all destroyed, all vaporized or shattered. "This wasn't a war," Threx whispered. "It was a message." Suddenly the screen lit up, a signal, unknown source. It repeated every few seconds. No name, no data trail, just a voice. They played it. It was a low, deep voice. Not robotic, not alien. It sounded human. "This is your first and final warning. Do not touch Earth. Do not test them, or vanish like us." The crew went silent. Veltri's eyes widened. "That can't be real," Threx ordered. "Trace the signal. Find its origin." They searched. The signal didn't come from any ship. It wasn't even coming from this system. It was bouncing from debris, traveling through broken hulls, spreading across the void, as if the wreckage itself was speaking. Threx narrowed his eyes. "Who sent this?" the voice repeated. Cold, calm, final. "Do not touch Earth." A few hours later, the signal reached the Galactic Council. In the Grand Hall, ambassadors argued. "The message is a trick," shouted one. "No species has this kind of power." "The humans are primitive," another said. "They don't even join our meetings." But a few sat in silence. Their eyes told a different story. One old ambassador, gray and shaking, stood up. "I've heard this voice before," he said quietly. "Long ago, when my people tried to colonize near Earth." Everyone turned. He nodded slowly. "We sent 12 ships, strong, full of weapons. Only one came back. It drifted in space, burned, empty. And on the walls, that same message was written in blood." Silence filled the room, but the council laughed it off. "Old stories," someone said. "Fear makes fools of us all," said another. The council decided ignore the message, but in the shadows of the chamber, an old war commander sent a private order. "Keep watching Earth. If the signal spreads, tell me." Back in deep space, Threx received a warning. "Stop your search," the message said. "This signal is forbidden. Forget what you found." But Threx couldn't forget. He had been trained to explore, to learn the truth, and this was the greatest mystery he'd ever seen. Veltri returned with a report. "Captain," he said, "I traced the signal's direction. It's pointing towards Sol's system." Threx stared. "That's Earth's system." Veltri nodded. "But there's more. There are data echoes, shadows of past messages. I was able to pull one out. Listen." He pressed a button. A new voice came. Through. Clearer. Angry. Terrified. "They didn't fight us. They didn't run. They watched. And then we just stopped. We stopped moving, one by one. No fire, no pain, just silence. Then static." Threx stepped back. That voice. That message. It was from a species that had vanished 50 years ago. A powerful race. Everyone thought they were killed in a war. But maybe they never fought at all. Threx spoke softly. "Maybe Earth didn't destroy them with weapons." Veltri frowned. "Then how?" Threx whispered. "With fear." That night, while the crew slept, Threx stared at the signal's pattern. It had no code, no lock. Anyone could hear it. But no one answered. No one ever did. Why? Suddenly, a new message popped up on the screen. No sender, no signal, just a single line of text. "Turn back. You are not ready to understand. Threx's heart raced. He looked around. The ship was quiet. He typed back, "Who are you?" No reply. He typed again, "What happened to the fleets?" This time, the answer came quickly. "They forgot the warning, so we erased them." Threx swallowed hard. "Who is we?" A pause. Then the final message appeared. "Humanity." The screen went dark. Threx sat in silence. He had chased answers. Now he had them. And the truth was worse than he imagined. Not only were humans still alive, they were watching. The Council chose pride over fear. Even after hearing the strange warning from the void, they refused to believe that humans were a threat. "They are weak, isolated, behind in tech," said Ambassador Vren of the Kralox Empire. But not everyone agreed. Inside a hidden chamber, General Kale of the Krovan Military League tapped his claws against the table. His species had won over 40 galactic wars. And now, they wanted to test the humans. "This warning," Kale said, "it's just a scare tactic. Let's see what happens when someone knocks on Earth's door." He gathered 3 powerful battle cruisers, stealth ships with the most advanced weapons in the sector. No explosions, no trace. They would enter Earth's system, scan the planet, maybe destroy a satellite or two. Just enough to show dominance. "Make it clean," he ordered. "We want them to know they're being watched." The ships left in silence. They never came back. 6 days later, the Council received an alert. 3 Krovan cruisers had vanished. No distress calls, no signs of battle, just gone. The Council demanded answers. General Kale was called to explain. "The humans must have done something," he shouted. "But how?" asked one ambassador. "There were no explosions, no debris, no escape pods," Kale growled. "We underestimated them." Veltri, from the Yularan explorers, was watching the Council meeting from a secure feed. He messaged Captain Threx immediately. 3 Krovan ships tried something near Earth. They disappeared. No trace, just like the others. Threx stared at the message. He wasn't surprised. "This is what happens when warnings are ignored," he muttered. He remembered the final message from Part 1. "They forgot the warning, so we erased them." Humanity. The humans weren't bluffing. They were patient, quiet, but deadly. On the far edge of the galaxy, in a secret base, a young human operative named Mara stood in front of a dark screen. She wore no uniform, no medals. But every species feared people like her. She was part of Project Silence. "Status?" she asked. A technician nodded. 3 hostile ships entered near Mars. They were scanned, tracked, and neutralized. "Methods?" she asked. "Non-lethal. No survivors." Mara smiled. "Good. The message is spreading." They didn't need weapons. They didn't need war. Humanity had created something far more terrifying, a reputation. They didn't fight loudly. They didn't send threats. They just made enemies disappear. Meanwhile, General Kale wasn't done. His pride burned. He prepared a second mission, this time bigger. "We'll send 10 ships. No more stealth. This time we show force." But a messenger entered, pale and shaking. "General," he said, "a package just arrived from deep space. No return code." Kyle opened it. Inside was a black box. He tapped it once. It lit up and played a recording. A calm human voice spoke. "You sent 3. That was your test. You are lucky. Others sent fleets. They no longer exist. You still have time to step back." Then silence. Kyle threw the box across the room. "I won't be threatened by ghosts," he roared. But his second-in-command whispered, "What if they're not ghosts, sir? What if they're gods?" Kyle didn't answer. Across the stars, rumors grew. Miners near the edge of Sol system reported seeing strange shadows in space, ships that made no noise, gave off no heat, and vanished the moment sensors were aimed at them. A trader claimed he saw a human ship floating among ruins of a fleet. untouched, unmoving, watching. Some laughed at the tales, others packed up and moved their colonies far away from Earth. But Threx? He wasn't laughing. He gathered his crew. "We leave at first light. We head to the human border." Veltri blinked. "Why, Captain?" Threx looked serious. "Because I want to see the edge of the line. I want to know exactly where their patients." And Veltri shivered. "What if we cross it by mistake?" Threx answered quietly. "Then we won't be around to tell the tale." In the black of space, Earth stayed silent. No messages, no diplomats. But those who tested the warning, they were already gone. And somewhere, hidden deep within humanity's system, an ancient fleet waited, its weapons cold, its systems asleep. But its sensors were always watching. The council was divided. Some were afraid, some were confused, and some laughed. Ambassador Jern of the Zarketh laughed the loudest. "Please," he said in the council hall, waving his three-fingered hand. "Vanishing ships, ghost fleets, these are stories told to scare children." Others chuckled. He walked around the room, proud and bold. "I've seen Earth. I've studied their history. They are not gods. They are animals, clever ones, yes, but still animals." He paused in front of the central screen, which still showed the last human message. "You still have time to step back." "Step back?" Jern repeated mockingly. "I say we step forward." The council applauded. He had stirred their pride. But not all joined in. Ambassador Lenora of the Velnari didn't clap. She stared at the message, her long eyes narrowed. She had heard something once. Something hidden. A secret no one wanted to believe. Years ago, the Velnari had explored a dead system, burned moons, crushed space stations, melted ships. No signs of life. In the center of that system was a signal. Just one word. Humanity. They'd erased the report. The council said it was a natural disaster, but Lenora remembered, and now the same silence was spreading again. 3 days after Jern's speech, a Zarketh science ship flew near Jupiter just to observe. They weren't armed. They weren't hostile, but they didn't ask permission either. Inside the ship, Commander Krex laughed with his crew. "Let's poke the lion," he said. They sent a probe toward Earth. That was the last thing they did. One moment, they were laughing. The next, static. No explosion. No energy spike. Just nothing. The entire ship vanished mid-transmission. The council called an emergency meeting. This time, there was no laughter. "What happened?" someone demanded. "Where's the wreckage?" another shouted. But there were no answers. Only Ambassador Lenora spoke. "It wasn't war," she said. "It was a message." The room fell silent. Then, for the first time in decades, Earth spoke. A signal, clear and cold, appeared on every council channel. No encryption, no warning, just a voice, a human voice. You ignored the first message. You erased the second. You laughed at the third. This is the fourth. There will not be a fifth. And then, a map appeared. It was simple. Just red lines. One surrounded Earth. The others were expanding. Lines that marked no-fly zones. The lines were drawn with mathematical precision, not just for Earth's solar system. They now covered over 50 star systems, all silent, all empty. Some leaders tried to argue, "This is fear-mongering. This is a bluff." But their ships didn't return from the red zones. Their scouts vanished. And soon, entire colonies near the edge began sending desperate calls. "Lights in the sky, ships we can't track, shadows and following us." We tried to scan them. Our systems shut down. "They're not attacking, just watching." Ambassador Jern grew quiet. He ordered guards at his personal quarters. He no longer laughed, because the message was clear now. Earth had limits, and if you crossed them, you disappeared. Back on Earth in a dark control room beneath the Arctic ice, Mara stood with a small team. Screens showed council reactions. Panic. Confusion. "Are they getting the message?" asked one agent. Mara nodded slowly. Yes, but some will still try. Should we warn them again? No, she said. This time we wait. The others in the room didn't argue, because Mara didn't speak for herself. She spoke for the last fleet, the one that hadn't moved in centuries, but was ready. Out on the edge of human space, hidden inside asteroid fields and nebula clouds, black ships watched the stars. They had no names, no lights, and no mercy. They were not there to fight wars. They were there to end them before they began, and deep inside each one slept something ancient, something human. Not machines, not AIs, but warriors born in the final days of Earth's last war, frozen, waiting for a single command. They crossed the line. The map was now everywhere. 50 red zones, clear, sharp lines cutting across space. No signals came from inside them. No ships returned from them. Everyone in the galaxy called it something new now, the human border. And no one wanted to touch it, but fear doesn't stop pride. Admiral Threx of the Grail Empire refused to believe in ghost lines. He stood before his fleet, 12 heavy warships, each built for destruction. We are Graal, he said. We don't bow to myths, his crew shouted back, proud and strong. We will show them what real war looks like, Threx growled. Then they jumped, straight into Red Zone 14. They were never heard from again. No distress signal, no wreckage, no trace, just silence, and one new red dot on the map, marking where they vanished. Back in the council, arguments broke out. We must open communication. They're bluffing, testing us. No, Lenora said, they are warning us. But no one listened. The pride of empires was louder than reason, so the Carrick Dominion sent drones. Thousands of them, fast, small, hard to detect. They wanted to test the lines, see where they could slip through. And for a while, it worked. Some drones passed through the edge without trouble. The Carrack leaders laughed. See? They're just bluffing. But then, something strange happened. The drones didn't send data back. They didn't explode. Instead, they began turning, off one by one, quietly, as if something inside the border was watching and choosing. A Carrack station near the line picked up one final signal from a drone. Just one word. Seen. Then nothing. The Carrack Dominion went silent after that, not by choice. Their entire border network crashed in one night. Stations lost power. Files were wiped. Backup drives melted inside their vaults. No ships were attacked. No weapons were fired. But the Carrack Dominion was erased. Panic spread across the galaxy. One border world tried to evacuate. The people rushed into ships, terrified. They didn't care where they were going. They just wanted to get away. But the sky was already full. Black. Dots, ships, human ones, thousands, no light. No sound. They just hovered above the escape path. Watching, waiting. The people froze. No one dared take off. Then, a voice came through every speaker. You are not the target. Stay calm, stay still, stay outside the line. The ships didn't move. They didn't need to. The message was enough. No one flew that day. Back on Earth, in the deep bunker, Mara stood before a black terminal. It glowed faintly. No buttons. No screens. Just a pulse. Waiting. The other agents stood silent. One whispered, "They'll try again, won't they?" Mara didn't look up. Yes. What happens then? She finally turned. Her eyes were tired. Cold. Then the border grows. In a quiet system near the border, a mining ship sent out a small probe. It wasn't meant to spy. It was just doing its job. The miners didn't think they were doing anything wrong, but the probe drifted too far. It crossed the red line, and something answered. It wasn't a weapon. It wasn't a message. It was a shadow. The ship's scanners picked it up for 0.6 seconds, not enough time to understand, just enough time to scream. Then, silence. The miner's final log recorded one thing. They don't attack like us. They don't chase. They wait. until you forget. Then they remove you. Now, even the most powerful empires paused. They remembered the first message. Attack us, and you will not win. They remembered the second. You still have time to step back. And now the third had been spoken. There will not be a fourth. But what no one knew was this. Earth had not even started yet. These were not attacks. They were reminders, warnings. The galaxy was still alive because humanity allowed it. But for how long? That answer was coming, and everyone knew. Sooner or later, someone would test the line again, and when they did, the old fleet would rise. For weeks, the galaxy stayed quiet. No ships crossed the red lines, no scouts dared move close. Even the bravest warlords sat still, their fleets on full alert. Everyone was waiting, hoping nothing would happen, but something always does. On the edge of the Zarnak Republic, a young officer named Kalor stood watch. He was bored, tired, restless. "No one's coming," he muttered, leaning back in his chair. But the scanner said otherwise. A small object was approaching. Slow, silent, alone. "Just debris?" he asked. "No, it's powered," the tech replied. They zoomed in. It was a pod, round, old, and it came from inside. The red zone. Kalor froze. "Should we shoot it?" The captain shook his head. "No, bring it in." That was their mistake. The pod opened inside the hangar. There was no weapon, no virus, no machine, just a person, human, a woman. She was unconscious, breathing slowly. The medic scanned her. No tech, no tracking devices. "Why is she here?" Kalor whispered. They didn't know it yet, but this human had already changed everything. Her name was Eli Gray, and she had crossed the line. On purpose. Hours later, she woke up in a locked room. A Zarnak officer stood before her. His arms were folded, his face tight. "You violated galactic law." Eli looked up, calm. "I know. You entered protected space." "I had to." "Why?" She leaned forward, her voice low, to deliver a message. In the council, panic exploded. A human crossed the line. "Do they want war?" "No," Lenora said quietly. "One person isn't an army." But her words were lost in the shouting. The Zarnak Republic announced they would interrogate the human, maybe even punish her. Other species begged them to stop. "Let her go. She came alone. Don't make the same mistake." But Zarnak pride burned hot. "We do not fear Earth," they said. So they locked Eli in a high-security cell. They didn't realize they had just lit the fuse. Back on Earth, alarms rang. In the deep bunker, Mara stared at the screen. One signal blinked, red then black. She knew what it meant. Someone had taken one of theirs. The room went still. "Do we respond?" a man asked. Mara didn't speak. She pressed her palm to the table. The lights dimmed. The floor shook. Then, a voice came from the speakers, cold, robotic. "Protocol 9 activated, human asset captured, preparing response." A quiet countdown began. Hours. In the Zarnak cell, Eli sat cross-legged on the floor, no fear in her eyes, just waiting. When Kalor visited, he asked, "Why did you come here?" She smiled softly. "To see if anyone still listens." Kalor frowned. "Listens to what?" She looked him in the eye. "To mercy." Zarnak ships noticed strange movement near the edge of the red zone. A fog-like cloud drifted forward. No heat. No signal. But every ship that scanned it, shut down, dead. "Is it a weapon?" one officer asked. "No," the science team said. "It's something else." "What then?" The scientist stared at the cloud on the screen. "I think it's them watching." In the final hours of the countdown, Earth sent one message to Zarnak: "Return her now." The Zarnak leaders laughed. "She's one woman. They won't start a war for her." but Mara's voice echoed from the stars. "You don't understand. That one woman is your last chance." Zarnak didn't listen, so the countdown hit 0, and everything changed. The stars near Zarnak went dark. Satellites blinked out, shields dropped, defense codes stopped working, their most secure files turned to dust. And then, Earth's fleet arrived. Not in light, not in fire, but in silence. 10 ships, old models, but even one was enough. The lead ship sent a final message. "We gave warnings. We gave time. Now we take her back." And they did. The Zarnak leaders watched in horror as their walls cracked open, without explosions. Doors melted like paper. Their prison vanished from orbit. In the next second, Eli was gone. Back in the pod, safe, returned, and Earth left no crater. No fire, just silence. But the message was clear. No one touches a human, not even one, not without cost. In the council chamber, no one spoke. No arguments now, no pride. Just one question in every mind. What will Earth do next? Because this was just a rescue. Not a war. Not yet. The rescue of Eli Gray sent shockwaves across the galaxy. Earth had done the impossible. No war declaration, no negotiation, just a quiet, perfect extraction. Zarnak's defenses were useless. Now, everyone was asking the same thing. How powerful are the humans really? On a small moon near the galactic edge, deep underground, something old was waking up. Not machines, not AI, but ships, warships, human-made. Long forgotten by outsiders, long feared by those who remembered. Inside a dark hangar, General Thorne walked. Slowly between giant black vessels, he placed a hand on one ship. It hummed under his touch. "They're ready," he said. Beside him, Commander Mara nodded. "We only need the order." Thorne looked at her, face cold. "We don't wait for orders. The galaxy forgot what we can do. Time to remind them." Meanwhile, in the council chambers, panic grew. Earth broke every law. They invaded Zarnak space. They removed a prisoner without consent. But Lenora stood and asked one question. "Did anyone die?" Silence. "No," she said. "Not a single one. Not even a guard." The room stayed quiet. "They could have destroyed the planet," she whispered. Instead, they walked in and walked out. The silence was heavier than fear. In a hidden communications base, Earth sent a short message to its outer colonies. "Prepare the old fleet." Across the stars, ancient systems powered up. Shipyards that had been silent for years glowed with light. Humans began moving. Not fast, not loud. Just sure. In the Hestari Empire, military leaders laughed. The old fleet? That's a myth. Their real power is gone. They don't even have enough people to fly it. But one admiral shook her head. "I fought them once," she said softly. "Just one ship. We sent 20 against it." "What happened?" someone asked. "We lost 19. A small drone passed by Jupiter. It recorded a massive dark shape rising from the planet's orbit. No lights, no engines, just shadows." The drone exploded before it could send the full footage, but one frame made it through. A single ship, big as a city, made of black steel. Its name barely visible. Silent Judgment. The galactic networks tried to ignore it, tried to say it was fake. But deep down, no one really believed that. Back on Earth, Mara stood before a large screen. It showed stars, systems, fleets. She pointed at certain planets. Zarnak, Hestari, Rook-Varn, all talking behind closed doors, all planning for war. General Thorne nodded. "Let them plan. Let them whisper." He turned to the room full of commanders. It won't help them. A message was sent from Earth to every major empire. We are not seeking war, but we will not wait to be attacked again. We know about the fleet's gathering. We know about the council's meeting in secret. If even one more human is harmed, we will not rescue next time. We will erase. Many laughed, but some didn't. Because deep in space, ships were vanishing. Not blown up, not destroyed, just gone. No signal, no trace. It was as if something was pulling them out of space itself. A group of scientists on the moon Taralos made a shocking discovery. They picked up an energy wave, slow, steady, massive. It wasn't natural. It was moving like a hunting beast. They tracked it to an origin point, Earth. They called it the pulse. But they didn't know what it meant. Not yet. In orbit above Mars, hundreds of ships floated quietly. Each had one pilot. Each ship had no windows, no visible weapons. But their names were terrifying. Ruin Whisper, Oblivion Path, Second Sun, and at the center of it all was the oldest ship of them all, a ship no one believed was real. The Abyss Harbinger. The one that ended 3 wars with a single appearance. No one alive had ever seen it, until now. It drifted slowly, like a ghost in the dark. Its engines never glowed. Its surface swallowed all light, and carved into its side was a single phrase, "We warned you." As the galaxy prepared for war, Earth prepared for something else, not defense, not diplomacy, but finality. Because for the first time in 1,000 years, humanity wasn't holding back. They were waking up everything. And the last words from Mara before she left Earth were simple. Let them come. The silence was too much for the Histari Empire. For weeks, they watched Earth move, ships gathering, signals bouncing through deep space, old stations turning on, ancient satellites blinking back to life, and Earth said nothing more. That scared the fight. Histari leaders most of all. No threats, no shouting, just calm warnings. And action. So the Histari did something stupid. They attacked first. In the dark between stars, a Histari strike fleet gathered. 10 heavy cruisers, 20 battle frigates, over 500 fighters. They moved toward a human colony, Eden 6, a quiet farming world near a red dwarf star. They called it Operation Silence. Their mission, destroy the colony, show strength. Send a message. They thought Earth would back down. They were wrong. As the fleet arrived near Eden 6, sensors picked up only small defense satellites. No warships, no fighter wings, just weak signals and open comms. Human colony, said the Histari admiral. Prepare to be cleansed. He gave the command. Missiles launched. Fighters swarmed forward. And then everything stopped. Literally. Their ships didn't move. The engines shut down. Weapons froze. Communications went dark. The stars themselves seemed to stretch and twist. And then they saw it. A shape move between them and Eden 6. It was massive, black, silent. It had no lights, no heat. It didn't appear on sensors, but every Histari officer saw it with their own eyes, a ship or something worse. It didn't fire weapons, it just floated closer. Then, one by one, the Histari ships vanished. No explosion, no escape pods, no alarms, just gone. Like someone turned off reality around them. Within 90 seconds, the entire Histari fleet was gone. Only one ship remained, the command ship, and one message came through their speakers. A cold, human voice. 3 words. This was mercy. Then, silence. Back on the Histari homeworld, they lost contact with their fleet. No signals, no survivors, just blank space. Admirals panicked. Councils shouted. One general screamed, "It was supposed to be a warning." But now, they were the ones being warned. The Council of Planets held an emergency meeting. Ambassadors demanded answers. Who gave Earth permission to destroy an entire fleet? But Earth's envoy, a quiet woman named Dr. Elise Wren, simply smiled. We didn't destroy it. She leaned forward. We erased it. The room froze. You don't understand, she continued. You thought we used all our weapons during the Great War. You thought we retired. She paused. We didn't. We just waited for someone foolish enough to test us again. Across the galaxy, whispers began. The humans erased a fleet. They didn't fire a shot. They just made it disappear. Even the Zarnak trembled now, because they realized something important. Humanity didn't bluff. They warned the galaxy. Then they acted, and they weren't finished. On Eden 6, farmers continued planting. Children played under red skies. Life didn't change, because the humans knew something the aliens didn't. Eden 6 was bait. They left it unguarded on purpose. The humans had wanted someone to attack, and the Histari took the bait perfectly. General Thorne stood in front of a massive screen. It showed systems, ships, and targets. "The Histari are panicking," said Mara. "They've moved fleets to defend their homeworld." Thorne nodded. "They're finally afraid." Mara looked at him. "Do we strike now?" Thorne shook his head. "No, we let the fear grow. Let them wonder who's next." He looked up at the screen. "They struck first. Now they'll wait. Forever." But not everyone wanted to wait. Inside a secret chamber on Earth, a new plan was forming, a plan for something final, a plan with no name. And in the center of the table sat one simple device, a small cube, black. No buttons, no markings. One general whispered, "We never wanted to use it." Another replied, "But now we might have to." And beside them, a quiet voice said, "If we do, there will be no galaxy left to warn." The galaxy waited. After the Histari fleet vanished, no one dared attack Earth again. But fear grew in every corner of space. What else were the humans hiding? How much power did they still have? And most importantly, what would they do next? In a dark command room under Earth's surface, 7 people stood around a single object, a black cube. Small, cold, silent, it had no lights, no symbols. It did nothing, but everyone feared it. It was called Project Oblivion. Not a weapon, not a bomb. Something worse. Only one person in the room had the authority to use it, General Elias Thorne. He stared at the cube, then he spoke softly. "We built this when the Great War ended. Not to use but to remind ourselves who we are." He turned to the others. "It ends everything. No survivors, no planets, no time, no memory." The others were silent, because they knew the truth. This weapon didn't destroy the enemy. It erased their very existence. Elsewhere in the galaxy, the Histari Council begged for peace. They sent messages to Earth, offered apologies, offered planets, even offered themselves for trial. But Earth said nothing. No reply, no signal. Just silence. And that silence was worse than any threat. So the Histari did something desperate. They sent a child, a 12-year-old girl born on a colony where humans once lived. Her name was Lyra. They put her on a ship and sent her to Earth with one message. "We are sorry. Let her live among you and maybe forgive us." The ship arrived, and to everyone's shock, Earth didn't shoot it down. They let it land. General. Thorne watched from a distance as Lyra stepped off the ship. She looked scared, alone. But then, a human woman walked up and held her hand, smiled at her, led her inside. The message was clear. Earth still had a heart. But the cube still sat in Thorne's room, and the galaxy still waited. In a secret council meeting, the allied species of the galaxy argued. "Should we attack Earth first?" "No, they'll erase us. We can't just do nothing." One alien slammed his hand on the table. "They're playing with us. We need to strike before they do." Then the room darkened. A single screen lit up, and a human face appeared. It was Dr. Elise Wren, Earth's envoy. She didn't shout. She didn't threaten. She just spoke one sentence. "Our silence was your second warning." The screen went black. Panic broke out in the chamber. The council knew what came next. Back on Earth, General Thorne sat alone with the cube. His hand hovered over it. But then, someone entered the room. It was Lyra. She held something in her hands. Picture. It showed her family, a human father, a Histari mother, smiling. "I didn't come to beg. she said. I came to remind you what you're fighting for. She placed the picture beside the cube. Thorne looked at her. I've seen whole planets burn, he said. I've seen our people erased by machines, by traitors, by monsters. Lyra nodded. And I've seen people who still believe in peace. She looked at him. You can press that cube, and maybe we win, or maybe we become what they feared. Then she walked away, leaving the choice behind. That night, the cube was gone, melted, destroyed, by General Thorne's own hand. He left one message behind, a single line, broadcast across the stars. Our true weapon was never fear, it was mercy. Across the galaxy, the message was heard, and for the first time in years, peace talks began. Borders opened. Ships stopped building weapons. The galaxy remembered something it had forgotten. Humans didn't want to rule. They just wanted to be left alone. And, when pushed, they chose to protect hope over hate. Some feared the humans still had other weapons, other cubes, other shadows waiting to strike, and maybe they did. But the real question now was different. If humanity chose peace, who would dare disturb it again?